Assalamu alaikum and hello everyone. My name is Ilya Dali and today's video is for those who have begun their time management journey and are about to craft their calendars. A common term you'll hear in time management is time blocking, and in today's video I'll be going over 3 different types of time blocks that you can use in your calendar starting today. Popping in real quick, if you're a fresh graduate, I'm running a survey to collect questions to ask my senior connections on their advice for career progression. If you're interested, please take the time to drop your questions below. Enjoy the video. First up, we have recurring time blocks, or I like to call them my non-negotiables. These time blocks consist of commitments you've either made on paper or habits that you're aiming to build, such as classes, weekly meetings, daily exercise, reading, and more. These are the activities that should be happening weekly, regardless of what week it is. Do note, in some special cases, there will be one-off non-negotiables. These are such as exams, interviews, or really important conferences that you shouldn't miss and are non-negotiable. Second up, we have your movable time blocks. These time blocks consist of your solo work and non-recurring meetings. These time blocks should be able to be moved around your schedule because they are the time blocks that doesn't matter when it's done, as long as it gets done time blocks. Last but not least, we have buffer spaces. These are not exactly time blocks, but are spaces within your schedule that allow for flexibility. Now that we have the 3 time blocks defined, let's try put them into a calendar. So there are a lot of different scheduling applications that you can use. Personally, I prefer using Google Calendar because it can be accessed both on the computer and my phone. And I like to edit it on the computer, and it's a lot more easier for me to refer to on the go on my phone. To begin crafting your schedule, you want to start by filling in your recurring time blocks. You'll want to begin filling it in with the subjects that are beyond your control. For example, your recurring meetings and classes. To go over this exercise, I'm actually going to show an example of how I managed my time when I was in university. So over here, you can see these are my classes, these are my exams that I had, and this was my baseball training that happened weekly. So these were my recurring commitments on paper. The next thing you want to do is you want to fill in the habits that you're trying to build. So at the time, I wanted to fill in my time for eating and my prayers. So over here, we have the time that I've allocated for my meals and my prayers itself. So after filling in your recurring time blocks, the time for your movable time blocks become apparent, as you can see all the spaces in between the recurring time blocks. So you want to begin filling this in according to your priority of activities. So normally in my time management workshop, we would have a sit-down exercise where we would fill in a list of priorities of groups of activities that we will want to spend our time doing. For today's video, we'll just be looking at 2 different groups of activities. So over there at the bottom left, you can see we have studying and social. For me at the time, studying was a higher priority, so I must begin filling in my study blocks. So normally you will want to begin identifying roughly how long do you need to be spending your time studying every week, and then after that, once you've established that, that's when you can begin filling it accordingly inside your schedule. So over here I have an example of all the times that I put aside to study, the time I put aside to cover my weekly material, as you can see week 7 here, and the time that I put for lab studying. And then now that I've already addressed that priority itself, this is where I begin filling in all the other time for social activities. So generally, if someone were to ask me, can we hang out or can we go play or can we have this meeting at this time, so on and so forth, at a glance of my calendar, I've already addressed all the priorities that are important to me, and I can begin filling it in with all these other activities that may happen throughout the week. Over here, I just dropped social. This was my involvement in some of the club societies, my involvement in the student association at the time, and that all came after, in according to the priority that I have. So last but not least, as you can see, there are a lot of empty spaces. As much as possible, I did not want to bring my study or work into the weekends, but these were my buffer spaces. So in the scenario where something ever happens, let's say on Tuesday, suddenly my mom is having trouble sending my brother to school or something like that, and I have to step in and help, I can take a look at, okay, that's my study block. Where can I move it to next to finish my F70RT class week 7 material? Suddenly I have to go and pick up my siblings from school over here. And I can simply just drag and drop it to one of the buffer spaces, understanding that, I'm not giving up. I've allocated the time to do that task at a different time. Another piece of advice when you begin setting your schedule, because I think one of the things that people often have a challenge with is procrastination. And I think if you were to really identify what's important to you and what you want to be filling your time with, when you begin to craft it out in a schedule like this, then you begin to understand that if I don't study my F79 BI here, then I wouldn't have time for lunch, consequently my class, and then after that I wouldn't be able to play baseball. So wasting time here will affect all the other important activities that I have throughout the day, and building the understanding of what am I giving up by procrastinating here becomes a reason for you to not procrastinate. If you're seeing this, it probably means that you've watched the video till the end. I'd like to give you a huge thanks. And if you are beginning your time management journey and you have some extra questions or experiences you'd like to share, please make use of my contact details below. If you really enjoyed or found the content helpful, please do subscribe and leave a like down below. And if you have any topics that you'd like me to make a video on, please suggest it to me in the comments below. Take care, and I hope you have good days ahead.